Hello and welcome to lunchtime. I hope you are having an amazing day. And I hope that today is one that you will find great blessings. Today, we're gathering around the lunch table and we're taking a look at those who are working and those who are having to navigate all of the ins and the outs and the backs and the forths and the motherhood and the wives and the husbands and all the things that they're having to deal with in today's ever changing world. And today we have a guest who is going to be Kimberly McKinnon. Now, Kimberly McKinnon is working at this present time and unable to be with us today at lunchtime in person. But I was able to sit down with her and to spend some time with her and kind of pick her brains to find out some of the things that she's doing. Because when you look at her life and the lifestyle and her children and the works, she's evidently figuring it out. So, without further ado, let me bring her in and we will start. Well, hello and welcome to Lunchtime with Leona. I'm Leona Dooley, and this is Ebony Ivy Thyme. And as you can see, we have a little different setup today, but I just knew it was going to be something that you would really enjoy because I'm so excited to have you here as well as our guest. Our guest is Kimberly McKinnon. And Kimberly McKinnon is very special to me. This is my daughter, and I'm so thrilled to have you here.
Glad
Yay!
to be here.
Yay! So we are going to talk because one of the things that I've thought about after talking to Tania King last week, wasn't that a delightful interview? We had such a good time. And, it reminded me of being able to sit down and to talk to my daughter. And now that she has her own family, her own everything going on, sometimes it's very difficult to be able to make those connections because time just doesn't allow it. So we are going to talk about some things that have been going on, and what I've been doing is kind of talking with other people to see how is our ever-changing world, how are we navigating that? What's it all about? How is it affecting us? How do we feel? And so those are going to be some of the things that we're going to talk about today. And Kim, I call her Kim, even though she's officially Kimberly, but Kim is a name that we normally call I usually call her. And so anyway, it's just so exciting today. Today, as I said, we want to talk about what's going on. And I guess we'll somewhat, first of all, kind of introduce yourself to the audience, who you are, what are some of the things you like to do and do, just kind of share a few things with our audience.
Hi, so it's really nice to be here. I spend a lot of time with our family and really have been so supportive of my mom and her channel. So thank you all for really being her support. She continues to share her wisdom and inspiration with the world. And so it's really a great opportunity to be here today. I am a wife, a mom of 3, and 2 dogs. So we run a very busy household. And so, we thought that this topic was really important because of all the change in the world and all the ways that our family has had to adopt over time. And I recognize that everybody's having to do the same thing. And so the more tips and tricks that we can share with each other, the better we'll be able to navigate the world the best that we can.
Absolutely.
So thank you for having me.
Well, I am always excited anytime I can sit down and have a conversation. And we do that as often as possible. But, it has been an experience with I think the toughest part for her dad and myself has really been the fact that because of COVID, it really separated our family. And all the things that we would normally do, we weren't able to do for quite a while. And that has made it very difficult. So once we were able to get out the door, it was like we were back into our normal routine. So today, like I said, we're going to talk about some of those things that have really been. We'll start with the issues, some of the concerns, some of the things that have really caused a problem, and then from there, we're going to talk about how she and her husband have been able to navigate some of those rough and rocky moments, as well as give you some tips as to how, and some suggestions, we'll say suggestions as to how, if you are struggling, because when you see what they're doing, I mean, I'm impressed because I can see the smoothness. And when you can see from the beginning and then see to where they are now, it's like, wow, how have you done it, and have done it so pleasantly. So let's kind of start at the beginning. Once I'm going to say when COVID first hit, what did it do to your family? What was the impact on your family?
Well, I think the biggest thing was just the change in work and school, and having to understand really how to navigate both at the same time, mm-hmm. from a place that we've never been in. So it wasn't like you could lean on the wisdom of others, because none of us had ever been through it before, mm-hmm. which is typically, I think, the way that we would solve problems is, call mom up and say, okay, so what do we do about this? But, with COVID, it was a very different situation. And so we had to navigate both, working remotely and raising a family and educating our children all at the same time. And mm-hmm. so that was really the biggest hurdle that we faced with COVID.
That's true. That's true. Well, let me ask you this. When you were trying to work all this out, everybody coming back home, so to speak, what did you do? Did you kind of separate everybody throughout the house so that everybody had a spot? Or were you actually able initially to kind of work together? How did that work out?
Well, I think just based on, where our family was with, a child, and really each school or each grade, we had one in elementary, one in middle, and then at the end of COVID, one in high school. And so, they all had very different needs. And so we just had to kind of take an inventory and understand, what did they need from us? So mm-hmm. for the younger kids, it's, sitting at the table and making sure that they understand how to navigate a computer in the classroom, mm-hmm. and getting them on and off of Google Meets during the day. And, for the older children, they adapted much more quickly, mm-hmm. because they already understood the technology and could mm-hmm. kind of focus and do their work. And not to say that they didn't have other things that we wanted to focus on, but, that initial inventory of, okay, so what do we need to focus on? And then mm-hmm. I think the second part is taking an inventory of yourself. My husband and I really understanding who's on deck, mm-hmm. for lack of a better phrase, when we have meetings or we have other responsibilities with work, trying to make sure that we understood what each of those were. Mm-hmm. And so, we knew who was on deck, who was really helping the kids to navigate different things at different times during the day. And I think the third thing is really taking inventory of yourself. That is something that I think oftentimes at the very beginning of the pandemic was something that many people lost. You're just trying to navigate things going on in the world and things going on in the family, and it's really hard to, and even at times, feel selfish to take time for yourself. And so, understanding what that really looks like for each individual in the family, and then how do we make that happen? And so, that I would say those are kind of the three things that initially helped us to figure things out.
That's amazing. You made it look so simple, and I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure it wasn't. But I can say this now, and I'm sure some of you who are parents, you've probably been on kind of the outside looking in, and knowing that it was a difficult situation, even though we none of us knew really how to really truly navigate. And thinking about the technology, learning the technology, um, you had families navigating as well as educators navigating, and I could certainly relate from that end. I was very thankful at that point that I was not on the job, and to have to do that, because I'm sure that was uncomfortable too. But it was I would say, quite a trying time. How was it? Did you find that just being in that type of situation caused a level of stress that maybe was a little difficult to deal with?
Yeah, I would say I don't know anybody who navigated COVID didn't have a moment of stress, whether it was internal. I'm not an extrovert, but I know for extroverts it was very hard being at home and not being around other people. And so stress, I think, was just a part of really what we all had to deal with, and for different reasons, whether that be, I'm an introvert and I've got everybody at home versus somebody who's an extrovert and has a need to have everyone around them, or lots of people around them in those interactions. So for me, I think I had to recognize that I needed to take my own space. I needed to find my own time and things that could fill my cup back up. You all throughout the day are really using energy, right, in a variety of different ways. And so you have to also be mindful of how you fill that energy back up and how do you refuel. And for every person, that's different. But I think, it was just something that without doing that, stress comes upon you, and it would be unrealistic to think that none of us had it. And, you see that in children in a variety of different ways. You see that, within yourself. So sure, every day, you're navigating stress and just trying to be conscious of it and acknowledge it for what it is and know that it's okay. I think those are things that help to navigate the stress in a way that that was productive. Because I think for me, it was just unrealistic not to think that having 3 kids at a table, doing homework, on meetings, and just navigating normal family life, I don't think it was realistic to say, oh, I don't have stress. you can make it look as easy as you want to, but the reality is that it does take a toll on your body. And actually during COVID, I had a moment where I wasn't attending to myself and didn't realize, and I wasn't conscious of the amount of stress that I was taking on, and so my body told on me. So I just I think it, like I said, I think it's just unrealistic to think that you don't have the stress. I think it's about acknowledging it and being aware of it and raising that to your consciousness so that you can make conscious decisions of how you're going to deal with it.
Well, you were fortunate in that you have children who are good students. And, so many of our population we have children who are wonderful, who are able to go into the classroom, work well, make good grades, all of those good things. But could you give some tips to maybe those who are still struggling to get their children settled back down to where they need to get back into school, kind of get back into the routine. And I guess really as parents, I'm thinking of myself as a parent, I would think I would need to kind of stop and start again. Almost it, and really going from working, first we worked at school, then they came home and they were working at home. They got used to that. And then all of a sudden, bam, they were back at school. And so I can't imagine that not having a certain amount of toll, even on good students, as well as those who were already having problems. What did you see? What were some of the comments you were getting when your children were all of a sudden having to go back into school after they had gotten, once they got over the hump and they got comfortable with being at home, and then to have to go back to school? Were they disappointed or were they ready to go?
Well, for us, I think because we've got three kids with very different personalities, we probably had a little bit of all of it. You have one that was very excited to go back and ready to be in person with people, and so that was very exciting to Juan. And on the opposite end, I had one that was anxious about going back into school, and then one that was just completely indifferent. And so you have to deal with each one a little differently, and recognize that they are different people, and they have different needs, and what they are looking for in a virtual environment and what they get in a school environment is very different. And so we really had to focus on how do we build them up and how do we support them through those transitions differently. And so for the one that's really excited to go back and see everybody, it was almost a little bit of cheering on that excitement and tailoring that energy to the school work, because they were much more focused on the people and the excitement of being around human beings. Whereas for the one on the opposite side, it was a lot more about understanding the anxiety and what was it rooted in, and how do you help them through that. And I think getting back into the classroom for that one in particular, they were, to your point, they were already good students, so it was more about how you reduce some of that anxiety, or at least as they are tiptoeing back into the classroom, talk about it. I think talking with them about what they're seeing and experiencing, how things are different, what do they love and enjoy, is really important. So talking is really important. I think the other thing that was important was finding the joy for them, not for, yes, for you, but more so for them. Like, what is it? What are the things that they find joy in, and really allowing them to do those things while they're also dealing with the other anxieties that they may have, or other stress that they may have. And so, for our kids, they're runners, right? So they are very excited about being able to be back in person and be able to be on track teams and cross country teams and those sorts of things. And so, those are the little things that help to build them up, to reduce their stress, while they're also having to focus on resilience and doing the things that they need to do from a school and academic perspective. So,
yeah. I think, too, for those of you who are just coming in, this is Kimberly Dooley, and I have the pleasure of interviewing my daughter. Today, we're taking a temperature check, and just taking a moment, and it gives me an opportunity to allow her to breathe and to share some of the things that she has been able to navigate. And to be honest with you, I think she's done it very well. I've seen both ends of it, those who are really struggling, as well as those who are able to smoothly, or seemingly smoothly, it looks smooth anyway, um, go through each day and go from a very rough time through COVID and the changes of COVID, as well as getting back into what we call a more normal routine. And so that's where we are at this point, trying to figure out what is going to be normal. And I think that's the question of the day, because seemingly, from my perspective, is that not only are we dealing with the more normal routine just with respect to the pandemic, but also we're dealing with all of the other world changes that are also going on around us. And one thing that I do want to ask you, um, we've been talking about inflation and the changes with inflation, and how inflation, we are certainly able to work through inflation if we're careful. But as a young homemaker and a mother, how has inflation really impacted your day to day and the things that you do and how you're doing it? Are you doing some things differently, whether it's gas, whether it's food? What are you doing? How is it working? Because it used to be the last time we had a situation like this, I had you and your brother at home. But this time, of course, it's just, Dad and I. But now the shoe's on your foot. And, I think some of those questions come, and I know some of you have talked about this. The question is, where do we fit in and how do we help? So first tell me how you're doing it, because it seems like you're doing it very well. And where can I jump in?
I don't know that I have the answer to the second one, but I think the first one, I think, so inflation, the impact of inflation on kind of our household is primarily seen, through things like you talked about, the gas prices, the prices in the store that we spend every single week. And so, I'm very thankful that, in our house, everything's a partnership. So, my husband and I spend, time understanding, okay, so how are we going to, prioritize the things that we buy and
prioritize.
Yeah, prioritizing is
is
a key.
And partnership as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you just have to make decisions that are best for you. I think in the terms of how can you help, I think the thing that you have helped us to do is to really have access to recipes and things that, I can cook and access very quickly in my home. I think being able to do that, throw something in the crock pot and use one of your crock pot meals, or be able to, just have something that I can quickly cook has been definitely helpful and saves significantly as we think about that spending in the grocery store. I think the other piece that has always helped me is that in the way that you think about, even like cleaning supplies and the way you kind of approach managing your house, it reduces the cost, right? I'm not going out to buy the name brand cleaning product necessarily all the time. I, know the secret sauce of knowing how to make cleaners or those sorts of things, or know some of the tips and tricks of like, you don't need to go to the fancy food store for some of those supplies. You can go to, other cost-saving stores to get some of those things. And so I think I think what I would call that is being the savvy shopper. So
absolutely.
You very much taught us how to be the savvy shopper and how to, not only to how to cook, but how to shop and how to manage your home, cleaning your home, those sorts of things, using everyday resources rather than having to go spend on some of those higher price items, and knowing when to spend on those higher price items and
That's
when not
true.
to. So I think those are the things that are helping us to navigate it. Like I said, it's really about having a partnership in our house and understanding how we can pull things together to really support the family, and understanding how do we prioritize our resources in a way that help us to continue to manage a successful home.
That's true. That's true. That's key. Having that partnership and being able to work together, because in this situation, you can't do it alone. And I know one week we were talking about with children, um, the kids had chores when they were younger. And certainly those chores help to keep, I think really, while, I wasn't real dogmatic about chores as far as, you must sweep the floor 3 times a day. Well, that's crazy. But we did have things, and we worked together to get the job done. And what I have noticed is that that has been one of the things that they have been able to adopt as well, in that everybody works together in keeping the house going. And that brings about, I think, a sense of partnership, as far as not just with, say, you and your significant other, but as well as with you and the children, because they feel like they are part of the success of your family. And that's important. That's important for them to know that they are as much a part of the family as everyone else. You have 2 cute dogs, and they are a force to be reckoned with, but they are certainly a part of the family. And it's neat to see how well the kids are so responsible for the dogs and keep the dogs going and take care of them. They love on them, and they have a regular routine. They know what the routine is. They know what's expected, and they do it. And they do it not, they aren't upset because they have to do it. They know that's just a part of life. And if you have a dog, you've got to take care of it. And so in this case, they have 2 dogs, so they still take care of them. But, I thought it important today to be able to bring this conversation, because as moms, and I think for you to know where I'm coming from and to know me, is that, the best way to know is to be able to meet my daughter. And we've been together, for a long time, and we have worked together. I think we've worked together well. And so I'm very proud of her, and she has certainly done a lot. She's been supportive of me in the efforts that I've made, and she says she's an introvert. I'm not so sure about that. There may be something she's developed in her later life, but needless to say, her mother is not, and so we are so different. And so when we talk about children and how each one is very different, certainly we have to, I look at each other, because there are so many things where we really are very much alike, and then there's some things where we're like totally different. And so this has been such a blessing today to be able to sit down together and to have that conversation. Tell me about, she knows I'm always picking her brain for something, because I need to know what young homemakers are thinking about. And she's a young homemaker. And, young homemakers today. Now, she knows that we've tried to develop the best plans that we can. We're trying to develop a really good process for our young homemakers. And one of the things that we've talked about is being able to grow your own food. And certainly in today's world, that's got to be very helpful. And I'm a farmer's market person. That's just not my thing. I don't have a green thumb for that. But my daughter does. She got it. She has the green thumb. And so it's so neat, because between she and her husband, they have a beautiful garden that they put together each year. And so tell me about that garden. You have already started on your garden. You've got to know this is what she's doing. What are you doing?
Yeah, so I think it starts with I haven't always had a green thumb. It is something that we acquired during our COVID, stay at home time period. And, one of the things as a household that we were trying to do is to find things different and new that we could learn. So, whether that was, we were just creating fun. I think that's a really big thing in our household is like creating fun. And so we had learned how to hike. We had, our kids learned how to swim competitively. And we also learned how to garden. And so, it's been something that's fun that we've over the past couple of years, each year gotten a little bit better. And so we really start a lot of our kind of flowers and garden foods from seedlings. And so we just try something out. We've got our seedlings for our flowers that are already started, and so we have a variety of different seedlings. And so I think one of the things is just have fun with it. Don't put pressure on yourself, because like I said, I did not start with a green thumb, and I still would not qualify myself as a gardener or having a green thumb. But it was more about let's try these things out. Let's have some fun and try different methods of nourishing and fertilizing and those sorts of things. And it really became a family thing. So it wasn't just something that I would go do by myself. It was something that the kids could get their hands dirty for an actually productive reason. And so, they would get to, join in and scoop the soil and plant the seeds and the different bulbs. And so, we, like I said, we've got a variety of things, everything from we've grown cucumbers and zucchinis and peach melons and cantaloupes. You name it, we've tried it. We just, I think, and the other thing with that is find savvy ways to get your seeds. You don't have to go out and buy the most expensive thing on the market. But dollar store has their $4 per pack. I don't know if I can say that on this, but
Sure.
Their 4 per $1 seed packs are a great way to start. And like I said, just have some fun with it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you even learned about the fact that at the end of the season in the fall, oh my goodness, they had seeds of all sorts everywhere that you were able to save, and she's using this year. And so, I'm amazed, because that was not our thing. We would hit the store in the spring, and we would go and buy flats and flats and flats of flowers and whatever that we were going to plant, and we'd put them out. Now, was it pricey? Yes, but that's how we did it. And so now I am just amazed that she is able to start all of this. It's a true, but when you walk in, it's a science experiment in progress, and I love that. And I would come in, and the kids would tell me what they had done and what they were doing. It was fun. It was fun, and it was something different that they were able to do, and it really brought schoolwork to a point that it was a living project for school. And plus, you figure if you're able to do those types of things at home and have fun doing them, it also enables you as children to have things to talk about. When they do go to school, they have things to talk about. They have things to write about. So often children struggle with writing because they're lost as far as what to talk about, what to write about. Well, with this, not only did they have something that they could engage the conversation in, but they could also draw pictures and do all those fun things. So, it's just an opportunity to be able to make those situations. And that was so much fun. And fun for us, because when we would come in, I would have to ooh and ah, because the way their garden is situated, it's very sunny, and I'm looking for something this big, and they've got tropical plants that are growing and blowing in the wind. And it's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And if I can find some pictures, I know I took some pictures last year of their garden. And so if she'll let me, if I can find them, I'll show you a few. And certainly that will give you an opportunity to see kind of from beginning to end as to how it looked. But you know what? Building family is what this channel is all about. It's about creating a great community, gearing up your family, strengthening your family, and doing it one meal at a time. And when we say one meal at a time, that's a serious moment, because you want to engage around the table. And we want to be able to sit down, to have dinner together, lunch, breakfast, whatever it may be. But it gives us an opportunity to talk. And so often families are ripping and running, and it's not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that at some time or another, you've got to stop, you got to pause, and you've got to be able to engage with each other and see what each other's thinking about and talking about. And so, it's been nice to see my daughter. She cooks. She's a great cook. And she, I told you all, I didn't really make her cook ever, but she learned how to cook, and we would cook a lot of things together. She's the baker of the family. Not my thing, guys. Don't see me teaching you all how to cook, make cakes, but that's not my thing. If I want a cake, I talk to her. But the rest of the food I'm okay with. But, everybody has to know their plus. But we have certainly enjoyed this time together. And so you're going to have an opportunity to have a conversation. Today we're pre-recording because of the fact that this was a time that she could sit down with me and we could have our talk and our temperature check. And so I hope you will talk in the comments box and give us some feedback. Let us know if you have any questions, anything that may be on your mind that you'd like to ask. We can certainly respond to that. And I'll respond, she'll respond, whichever way it may be. But we thank you for the time of being able to come together and to share. So would you like to offer some last words?
Well, I just want to thank you for having me today. And, I think this topic is probably near and dear to quite a few of y'all's hearts. And so, hopefully this conversation has provided some information and inspiration for some conversations for you to have with your family as well as some tips and tricks to take away and try with you. And so, I offer the comments box. If you've got other ideas, we're all navigating through this together. So if you've got some other thoughts on tips and tricks, please drop them in the comments box for us to continue to share.
All right, guys. Have a wonderful and blessed time with your family. And take a moment to have that temperature check and see how they're doing. So I'll see you soon right here at the lunch table. We're ready to go. So have a great day. Well, hello. How are you? I hope everyone is amazing and that you enjoyed today's conversation. It's a proud moment when a mother has a chance to sit down with their daughter and to spend time having that conversation, because I don't know how many of you have daughters, but so often our worlds are turning in two different directions, and so because of that, we're unable to really connect sometimes. You might connect on the phone, but it's not until you see them firsthand that you're able to spend the time and to really ask some serious questions. Now, we have been on spring break together, and we do this every year, which is always a lot of fun. And with spring break, we are able to connect as far as mom and daughter, but we're also able to connect as far as the children, to spend time with the children from sun up to sundown. And it's just a good time. We're all in one place, and there's lots of giggles and lots of love. And so Papa and Mimi have certainly enjoyed every second of this past week of spring vacation. And I'm appreciative to all of you, because I thought, sometimes when we're taking those temperature checks, we want to know how our family is doing. We want to know what the impacts are along the way. And I'm not saying that you don't do the same thing. I'm saying that if you haven't done it, take a moment and spend time with your daughter. And Ronnie, I see you said you're so glad and you really enjoyed it. I really appreciate it. Sandy saying that she and her family are very close knit, and she knows how important it is to bring them all together. And you know, we are learning from each other. I'm learning from her because she's helping me see from her standpoint of what needs to be done. Some of those things that I know I shared with her, but perhaps I haven't shared overall and shared with those of you on the channel and those who are homemakers. And so, those of us who have opportunities to be able to bring these types of things together, it's a good thing. And we're trying to do it. I don't know about you, but we're trying to do it not only within our family and within our home, but we're also trying to do it within our churches, to be able to bring, Sue, as you said, the multi generations together, and to be able to sit down and talk. It doesn't have to be about homemaking. It could be about getting homework done, trying to encourage our young ones to do their homework. Because while some children just come right in and they start that homework, other children struggle trying to focus, to refocus, because they're coming from school where it's a very open environment, and they're coming home and they've got to focus on what it is that they need to do. And it's a real struggle sometime as parents to try to figure out how much hovering we need to do, and to get our children through whatever the project or the report or just the nightly homework, whatever it may be. Now, it's funny, we did have a conversation. We were talking about math, and she was saying, we had been sharing, I can't remember, it's been several weeks ago, we were looking over the shoulder and looking at the math. And of course, because she has one in elementary, one in middle, and one in high school, that's quite a span. And what it does is that the level of math is so different, and the process is so different. And so, we find ourselves, I know I've looked at their math, I've taught math, and, I'm looking at it going, oh my goodness, I know how to get the answer, but it's the process now that is as important to get it done. You're going to get to the answer, and we got to the same answer, but we did it a whole different way. And so, it's so my process, what I did was to say, okay, you show Mimi how to do this. And so they sat down and they just, they showed me what it was that they did. And, that helps. I used to say to my parents, when they may have had definitions they needed to know, or whether it was a case of where they had to work through a formula, rather than just going through the end, looking at the answer, whatever it was. I would ask parents to say, where if it's a definition, you would say, okay, the word is, let's say the word is heart. And the student or the child would have to give the definition, rather than I read the definition and they just have to say heart. That wasn't the connection. You need to flip the switch and allow them to talk their way through what that process is. And that works for math as well. Let them sit down and show you what it is, how they do it. And that, it's funny. I use the example with my son. My son is a true technology person, and even as an adult, he's into technology. And so I knew how to set up VCRs and all those kind of things in the house, but I allowed him. I played dumb, you know I just can't get this to work. Can you show me how to do this? And he would sit down just as nice and say, now, Mom, you need to connect this wire here, and you need to connect this wire to the such and such. And so, because I could see that it was helping him work through, and plus having to articulate what the steps were. All of that's important because it helps our children speak and helps our children say what it is that they need to say. And, while you may not, like Ronnie saying, she doesn't have daughters, but she says she doesn't have daughters, but she's very close to her boys. I've got one of each. And she says she really loves watching the mother and daughter. Oh, that's sweet, Ronnie. It is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun having your daughters or your sons. And I hope one day to be able to get him on here. But he is like the big guy. Oh my goodness. When it comes to those cameras, he's running. And so every now and then you might get a shadow of him passing through. Uh, we are trying to navigate ourselves as parents and grandparents, trying to find out when I was saying to her that where can I jump in, because it has been a struggle for me, knowing and seeing what was going on in the world and thinking, surely I have a little something that I could contribute to that, and trying to figure out how much mothering they needed, and where grandma could step in and do a little bit to try to help ease the process. And Ronnie's saying she said her husband and she went through the same thing with her granddaughter's math and homework. And she's in the first grade. Oh, I know. I can't believe how hard they have made first and second. I taught first and second grade for years, and I can't believe how difficult they have made the math process. Everything is so much about the steps, and where there are certain things you just need to know. You need to know 1 + 1 is 2 and 2 + 2 is 4, and they need, not think about it. But now they're not so much about learning that. They're more about what's the process, how do you go through the process. So it's just a whole different mindset. um let's see, here's grandmother Sandy said that means uh, her great grandson can sit down and help make little miniature gardens, with dinosaurs and cars. So they've been working together. It's all about being able to work together and to bring your families together and doing it one step at a time. You know, Centric said she has 3 grown sons and you have granddaughters. Oh, that's fun. That is so much fun. I have four granddaughters and one, of course, the one grandson, which is Kim's son. And I tell you, they're delightful. There is I believe, a real blessing with grandchildren in that it's kind of like you're getting a little bit back, for all the effort that you've put into your children. You're seeing you're seeing them through your grandchildren, and you look at it very differently. They laugh all the time because they said the grandkids get away with murder, and maybe they do a little bit. I kind of spoil them a little bit, and yes, sometimes I tolerate things that I didn't tolerate from my children, and they just shake their head and think, I can't believe you're letting them do whatever it is, because you never let me do that. And so it is always a lot of fun. um, Hold on one second. Whoops. Oh, Sandy, you are absolutely right. I'm trying to get this to pop in. She's saying the joy of life with your family is everything. You're absolutely right. It is special to have our families right there with us. So we are just going to try to hug and love on our families as much as we can. And when we have uh, when we have those moments when we can come together and bring them closer, that's what we want to do. Now Stephanie says she has one of each. She has a son. Her son has two beautiful daughters. Oh, that's amazing. My son does too. He has two girls, and they are, and the baby is a hoot. She's a hoot. She is funny because the baby, his youngest daughter and Kim's youngest daughter, it's almost as if they have taken on my personality, because they are true extroverts, both of them. And where the others are very quiet and very subdued and very introverted, those two are quite lively, and it is always a good time. Now, I this week I put together a video for I think it's Wednesday. I think I put it up. It's due to deploy on Wednesday, and the plan is to be able to share with you some of the things that we've done, and just to have a good time. And I think you'll really enjoy it. I'm hoping you'll enjoy it anyway, as much as we did. And this has been quite a blessing to be able to be with you, and to take a look, and for you to join in on that opportunity of sharing. And certainly, any of you who would like to share, and you just have to let me know, and we will come into the lunch table. In fact, what I'm thinking about doing is to take one Monday when I give you the link, and then we can come in and we can share right here at lunchtime live. And all of us, we can just get in the conversation, because we want the true feeling of sitting at that lunch table. And I think we'll enjoy it. And so um, I'm reading. Oh, now Grandma Sandy's got her Alice in Wonderland theme that's deploying today. Oh, that's cute. Oh, she said she just put her Cheshire Cat display up. Oh, that's going to be good. So I'm thinking, Sandy, that you are putting that on YouTube so that we can share in that and take a look at that. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. And to Stephanie, I'm looking forward to the 24th. I'm going to be on with Stephanie, Creatively Miss Me Stephanie, her Sunday program on the 24th. So I am really looking forward to that as well. We have a lot of things coming next week. We've got a guest who will be live with us, as well as we're going to finish out the month. And so May is already full. We've got guests for the month of May, and we are just having a great time at lunchtime. And Stephanie, don't get questions that are too hard. I am looking forward to it. It's gonna, there, we will have a good time. Uh, I watch your show all the time, and sometimes I'm not able to come in live, and I might have to catch it on replay. And but when I do, I try to let you know I'm out there, that I'm listening. So I am really enjoying your show. I think it's such a blessing for everyone that you're bringing on. Oh, good, Sandy. She said her Alice in Wonderland show is on YouTube, and it's up every day for the whole month of April. Something new and something different. Wonderful, Sandy. So for those of you who have time, be sure to check Grandma Sandy out, check her channel out. And this month of April, she puts together these gardens, these cute little gardens, and they are always a lot of fun. And I am always amazed at how she gets these little intricate designs. And I'm an Alice in Wonderland fan, so I know we will we will certainly enjoy it. And oh, good, Ronnie. Ronnie's into being able to come to the lunch table live and have a great time. And so we're going to certainly do that. We've got that coming up. And we may even do it. I had really thought about trying to work out a birthday party on at lunchtime. So I'm working on that to see if we can do that, because my birthday is actually on that Thursday rather than that Wednesday. But hey, we can celebrate on Wednesday and get to all come in and have fun. So anyway, I'll let you know closer to that time, and we will take advantage of that. Now, guys, I am so appreciative to your being here today. And I'm hoping that you have been able to take away a few things from the conversation that I had with Kim, being able to encourage, whether male or female, doesn't matter what child it is, and it doesn't have to be your child. It can be one who stays close to you, someone who, sometimes the ear that's listening is not necessarily our child. Sometimes the ear that's listening is a child by another mother who may be watching and listening to what you're saying. So if you can just kind of, share some information, talk about developing a good, solid partnership, to talk about finding joy and finding fun as a family, and being able to sit down as a family and do things together, that is about building community. And that is certainly what all of us are all about, being able to strengthen our communities. And what I always say, we are building our family and community one meal at a time. And it doesn't matter the time of the meal, it just means that you're coming together as a unit. So, guys, I am going to step away, and because I got a little noise going on out here, and a little more than I think you all want to have to deal with. Today I'm laughing because I know Ronnie usually comes in and says, "Oh, I like crazy." You don't want this crazy. But We are going to, my plan is to be back in the kitchen on Saturday and ready to go. I already know what we're going to be cooking on Saturday. We got some fun things that we're going to be doing. And I am so looking forward to having each of you here, and tell somebody else, because we're gonna have a great time in the kitchen Saturday morning, 10 a.m., ready to go. So, without further ado, I love each of you. I hope you have a blessed, wonderful, warm week, because it is gorgeous today. And have a great rest of the day. God bless you, and I'll see you soon.